A coalition of groups gathered in Washington today to call for a global effort to end the slavery that still goes on in North Africa and the Persian Gulf. Many slaves are Christians sold to Muslim masters who force their slaves to convert. And as correspondent Paul Strand reports, these slaves must endure terrible treatment.
Jane Alley survived a bloody slave raid on her village.
One of the soldiers went around setting fire on the huts.
Her best friend was gunned down as Jane fled with her own children.
In the bush, I lay over my children to protect them from the bullets. The bullets were spraying from the machine guns. Women were crying. Children were crying.
Alley joined with 12 abolitionist groups at this Washington news conference to urge the U.S. to fight slavery in northern Africa and the Persian Gulf.
There are tens of thousands of chattel slaves in northern Sudan held in bondage while we sit here in Washington.
John Eibner brought a video showing actual Sudanese slaves, free now only because Christian Solidarity paid for their freedom.
58 slaves are up for sale. John pays 2.9 million Sudanese pounds. That is about $100, or a value of 2 or 3 cows per child.
Some of these slaves detailed the horrors of what they'd been through.
He offered me as a concubine to another man for 5 cows. She has been beaten and raped by an Arab named Sama, who bought her as a sex slave.
Congressman Chris Smith says the worst slave nations are Sudan and Mauritania, and accuses the U.S. of covering up for Mauritania, an American ally.
Our own State Department has been whitewashing, and that is the administration, what was going on in Mauritania.
Charles Jacobs says he's tried to get the groups that opposed apartheid in South Africa to now fight slavery in North Africa, but they're not interested, not even the churches.
American churches have not bestirred themselves. Though the majority of slaves in Sudan are Christians, and though Christian slaves are forcibly converted to Islam.
Think about the mothers in Sudan who are facing this daily.
The abolitionist groups called for greater exposure of slave nations and sanctions against them.
We are suffering. Our children are being taken every day.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.